I'm actually not gonna give
Big up to all.
Okay guys, so in today's video,
big up to all.
I'm not keeping it. I'm not.
Sweetheart.
I'm not. I'm actually not. This is my YouTube channel. You are a guest on my YouTube channel. Yes, you are. Hey, everyone, what's going on? Hey, everyone.
Shinzi, don't do that. That's not funny.
Hey, everyone, what's going on? Today, welcome to another video.
Big up, everybody.
Today's video, we are going to be doing a relationship part 3 video. We did a part 1 and part 2 way back when, and
when we were young.
I mean, it was like 2 years ago, I think.
But we never have him on them, bro.
No, I was pregnant with, I think, Levi at the time. So we were just thinking that it would be good to do a little catch up to that video.
Yeah.
And so we're just gonna talk about relationships, marriage, God. So yeah, stay tuned.
Sex.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. So all of that and more will be included in this video. So stay tuned. We've been married now for this year. We're in 2023. This is the first video of 2023.
Yeah.
We have been married. This year will be 4 years. May 11th. We got married May 11th, 2019. So 4 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
We have 2 boys, and our first is Levi. You guys all know Levi. Levi is 2, turning 3, and Jeremiah is 1 and a month, or 1 and going on 1 and 2 months.
No,
so,
just 1 and a month.
I mean, end of January he'll be 2 months.
Yeah, it's far away.
I guess.
January is a long month after you come from what a Christmas in
that's true.
Yeah, so.
Yep, so we are in.
2 little boys.
We have 2 boys. So I think a lot has changed. Well, I think the basics have changed. I mean, no, the basics remain the same in terms of what we believe in terms of marriage and the importance of marriage. But the little nuances and things, I think, in between,
like the
would have developed over time. So we're gonna just kind of talk about that and just explore that in this video.
Yeah.
So really quickly, have any of your ideas of marriage changed since we first got married? And if so, what has changed?
I guess fundamentally no, because I think we maybe had I would say that we had a good understanding of the, not to make this sound deep, but like the whole institution of marriage and like your responsibilities and and what is required, and you know how you go about getting the best out of the union or the relationship. So I wouldn't say anything fundamental has changed, but as you alluded to, is maybe just the logistics, the different plans we have to make because of the kids, and trying to make time for us and doing life things, but nothing fundamental.
Has changed, right?
No, I don't think so. Fundamentally, no.
No, for me it's the same. I think just having a better understanding of, like, I think you've talked about this too, like marriage just being how I think we both have been changed by marriage, in the sense that it's a learning curve, and so we just kind of strive to learn from each other.
Yep. And
none of us, I mean, like, forgiveness. Okay, so fast forward. I guess I'll ask this question and then I'll lead into my point. Why do you think marriages on a whole don't work? Like, what do you think is the biggest reason?
Alright, so we're Christians, right? But I'm gonna give a general answer. So,
well, marriages, I mean, there are people who are married who
I'm not
Christian,
gonna necessarily make it a spiritual response per se, but I think largely a lot of people may not have budgeted for maybe the level of compromise that it sometimes requires. And what happens is that now, when they're in the situation, and then they realize that, oh, is that I have to deal with this, or you know, I maybe decide not to deal with this, then they find that there may be something that is irreconcilable, when really and truly is not irreconcilable, or I don't know if that's the right term, irreconcilable, unreconcilable. I think it's I don't know, something that is hard for them to come on common grounds about. Outside of cheating, I'm not talking about cheating and being unfaithful, because that's a whole different thing. But like for things where, you know, the husband or the wife, they have difficulty coming onto the common playing field so that both persons can live together. I think sometimes people are unwilling to, let's say, take the lower seat and compromise to make it work. So, and that applies to whether you're a Christian person or you're just a regular person that is married. You have to make adjustments, and sometimes it's not going to be the sweetest or the happiest or the easiest, but you have to see value in the union outside of maybe sex, outside of maybe the material benefit that you gain from being married. You have to see value in the person and say, all right, then this obstacle is not worth ruining the marriage for. But if you don't see value outside of sex, where you can gain with somebody else, finances where you can get with another partner, you have to see value in the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, not trying to be deep, if you actually see value in the actual person and the other partner see value in the other person, I don't think there's anything that can come against you that you won't find a way to navigate, because you see value in what you have.
That's true.
So,
and I mean, like, I think marriage gets a bad rap. Marriage is hard work. I don't know if people...
What do you mean by hard work? You sound like a grief when you say it. Like,
no, like, it's...
When people say... No, but people... I get it. I understand, but I hate saying that because they just make it seem like such a grief.
It's not a grief, but it takes hard work.
Outside of what?
Not outside of anything. I mean, you have to be intentional about...
But I'm saying, does it take harder work than any other relationship?
Yes.
How so?
Because of the level of exposure and intimacy. You're not exposed to, let's say, your sister in the same way that you are with your partner. There's a level of vulnerability that your partner has access to that no other person has access to. So it's hard work because you have to be conscious about forgiving quickly. You can't be in a marriage and live a happy day-to-day life if you're consistently harboring bad feelings towards your partner. You can't
Whether
function.
they're justified or not.
Whether they're justified or not, you have to...
This is not justifying somebody being...
abusive.
Mistreating somebody.
No.
But
it's hard working because it's not about being petty. Because if you're right, if you think you're right in the argument or in the relationship or in the discussion, sometimes you want to be validated in whatever you're talking about, and you might not get it, so you have to suck it up, I guess, and move on. So when I say hard work, it's because you have to work on yourself consistently, and you kind of have to just deal with things as they come. You won't always be able to have a pity party for yourself and sit down and cry about what your partner said about you that you probably felt your partner shouldn't have said, or your husband or wife shouldn't have said. It takes effort to swallow your pride and move on. And sometimes people will be like, okay, well, I'm waiting for him to say something to me, or I'm waiting for she to...
How about you say something
well,
first?
that's what I'm saying. So all of that
I understand.
is work. Because if you're not mature enough, and if you're not willing to swallow your pride, those things will become a hindrance in your relationship. So I say it's hard work because it takes... You have to be intentional. I don't think you can just be married and live without...
Well, that's what I mean. They have all sorts of marriages nowadays, but if you intend to have some successful, something long lasting, that you can actually truly trust somebody and they can trust you, and you can almost just merge into one unit seamlessly, it will take a lot of and I think that's why God designed it for the lifetime, because just get up overnight and these things just... And I don't mean that I'm not saying that you have to jump through hoops and you have to go through murky waters with crocodile. I'm not saying that, because that's not everybody's experience. But you will have challenges, and you will have to do a lot of... You have to come together and blend yourself in order to overcome the challenges. Or they will take you out, bro. Yeah. Saved or unsaved. Christian or not Christian, they will take you out. So as I said, I think it does come back to the point that we made first, that you have to really see value. If you see value, you will get up and you will fight.
Right.
and that means both persons, because it's really hard if it's just one person.
One person
alone.
fighting, right?
Right. So yeah.
And what do you think is the number one, I guess, the number one goal or the number one rule to a successful marriage in your eyes or your opinion? What makes a marriage successful, I should say?
I mean, communication is a bit it's kind of, I don't want to say it's cliche, but you always hear it all the time. I think it's crucial because you really can't read people's mind, bro. I can't read your mind. You can't read my mind. And contrary to as I say, contrary to saying communication, and it sounding very cliche, I think what messes people up is being able to communicate with their partner. And it's strange because you would think that being in such an intimate relationship like marriage, where you sign over, you pretty much sign your whole life. You have tax obligations now. If you get divorced, there's a whole bunch of money. Kids have to get split up. There's a whole bunch of stuff happen when you get married, and then if your marriage should break up. So you would think that if people voluntarily go into something so deep and so intimate, that they would find it easy to really bare their heart and communicate. And that's not the case sometimes. Sometimes husbands find it very hard to express themselves to their wives, because low-key they're still trying to maintain a certain sort of how would I describe it now? Like I would try and not be, I don't want to be vulnerable. Sometimes men struggle with being vulnerable even with their wives, and like for whatever reason. And sometimes women also have their own struggles and issues, and they struggle to be that vulnerable with even their partner.
Right.
I mean, being sexually vulnerable and being emotionally vulnerable are two different things. And so I think communication is one of the key things. If you are married and you can nail down being able to flesh out to your partner, regardless of how it make you look or feel, but you're able to say the truth as is, and then feeling comfortable enough that your partner will listen to you and, what do you call it now, like actively listen and allow you to feel safe that they're not judging you. Because I've shared stuff with Shanika where I feel funny. I thought about it, like I feel a bit like, you know, like when you're naked and like you walk out in one room and you're naked and people look at you like, Jesus, please, me not the towel. That never happened. Hope that never happened to nobody. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes you've shared stuff about, like some stuff that you grew up, high school, how you feel, different issues that you've had, and I'm sure that it kind of feel a way, but the type of relationship that we have is we don't make each other feel unsafe when we're being vulnerable. So if you're a virgin, if you have a big beard, if you have a good job and you make a bag of money, you have to find a way to be very vulnerable.
What is a beard about?
No, meaning that no, I'm describing like a manly man, like somebody who solid and just I'm a virgin, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Even you, as virgin as you be, bro, find a way for communicate those butterflies when they are, because we all have them. We all have those situations, or we all have things that make us feel unsafe or insecure. And the problem is when you don't communicate those things, the partner might say or do things that tug at that soft spot.
Right.
And it might low-key annoy you, and you might think, alright, the best thing to do here is just to ignore it or push it one side. But you find that things bottle up and they pile up and they pile up and they pile up. And sometimes resentment might be building in your heart while you're having sex with your partner. You might be intimate with the person, but because of that miscommunication and because of those things that you have not said and that person don't know and they keep poking in certain areas,
see, I think women are...
resentment might take a time and build up.
Just on a side note, I think women are generally different from men as it pertains to... No, because I think we translate, for example, sex for women, I think is often... I'm not saying all women, but generally I think sex for women just because you mentioned that, I'm just going off on that. Sex for women is different from sex for men. For some women. For example, if I'm angry at you or if I'm upset with you, I might not want to have sex.
But if I'm angry, I more than likely would still want to have sex.
Right.
Just to help express myself.
Help express yourself, okay.
No, but I understand what you're saying.
No, yeah, so even that resentment part, sometimes it won't even... It won't even get there because...
No, but with that can be the issue now. Like, the virgin probably maybe wondering, like, yo, I'm trying to, like, come upon her a certain way and she's not interested. Yeah, like, the guy might be trying to have sex with his wife and she's just not showing any interest. And in his mind, maybe some insecurities that this is the thing about the insecurities. Maybe some insecurities that he has like about himself, his appearance, his maybe his sexual prowess. Those insecurities might speak to him in that moment and say, "Oh, it's because you're not so governor. That's why." But really and truly, it's because he said something to her that hurt her in terms of an insecurity that she has. Right. I know that caused both of them to approach each other unnecessarily. Right. But let's say he had said to her, you know, I have this insecurity. Like, I've always felt like I've always felt unattractive, low-key. And even though I know you love me and this and that, but when you make a comment that, then you can't go to the barber or something, like low-key, even though I understand that I need to go and take a trim, like low-key made me look at myself. It made me take a second take. Okay. Because I've always struggled with feeling like I'm... You feel me? I know
what you're saying.
So those kind of things you have to be willing to communicate. And if you don't... I remember one time, like... Well, I mean, I'm over that now. But I talk a lot, right? And people always just tell me, yo, you chat too much, bro. Or you move too big, or you can't chat so... And low. Like, I would laugh it off. Yeah. Low key. I used to feel so bad, bro.
You did?
Yeah. The thing is, I don't feel bad no more. I don't care because I accept it. Me know me chat too much. You feel where I come from? No, all I'm trying to do is make sure that, you know, my words are edifying. So, you know, like, who cares? Me chat too much. But I'm saying, like, even little things, some people might feel some type of way. Your partner might feel some type of way. Yeah. You might struggle with like, I think you've talked about it on the channel in terms of like losing weight and stuff like that. Now, if I make some comments low key, it might make you feel like I don't find you attractive, low key, and then that might mess with your meds.
Yeah, but also like, okay, well,
so the point where we are making is that you have to be willing to communicate even your vulnerabilities, because don't assume that because people are married and because they're intimate in terms of sex and like relationship, it don't mean that they're all the way there in terms of communicating their vulnerabilities. And I think not communicating those things ultimately lead to some big issues, because as I said, things pile up and people ignore things until after a while, after 10-15 years, you just hear one partner say, bro, I'm dissatisfied, like I don't want to do this anymore. And sometimes if you trace it back, they've been low-key harboring these thoughts. Liquor, it's piling up. And as I'm saying, I didn't even touch on the whole bit of infidelity and cheating, because sometimes people walk out and do whatever dumb thing that they want to do. And it might not necessarily be the fault of the other partner. One partner can just be like doing everything that they should be doing, but you see, Earth kind of set up funny that some stuff just happens. So it's not just say the man cheat because the wife not doing this.
You think cheating just happens? I think
no, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying that cheating just happens, but I'm saying it's not always... No, do you think
it's possible to just happen?
Yeah, anything is possible.
You think it's possible?
It don't have to be premeditated, but it shows the character of the person. If cheating just randomly happens, it speaks to your character.
So you do think it's possible it can randomly happen?
Yeah, bro, you can leave out your road and just tripping on infidelity.
How do you trip?
But what I'm saying, it speaks volumes to your character more than the event.
No, I get it. Yeah.
You go out on the road, whatever, something can happen, but it really is telling of your character in the first place that you could just randomly do that.
Without there being any...
Yeah, but I'm not saying it can't. But that's not the point. The point we would make is that...
No, I know, I'm just...
What would I do?
You were talking about relationships.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, it's not just always Shanika is doing something, so oh, that's why me go do some foolishness. Sometimes Shanika cannot do everything right, and me just because of my own deficiencies just go do some foolishness.
Yeah,
I think that we can't even touch that whole bit of, because I think the question you asked initially, what are the biggest
what do you think
contributing factors for a successful marriage? And I was saying communication, bro. Yeah. Communication. Because as I made the point, I can't read your mind, you can't read my mind.
Yeah, and assuming too, I think.
Yep.
Which is tied to communication, because you can assume your partner or your husband or your wife is feeling a certain way based on a behavior, and it might be completely left, like they're doing that behavior because of something else, and you, just like how you said, like if you are coming on to me and I'm like
yeah, it might
you assume that it's because of you, when it could just
because
be maybe
I have that deficiency in my head, right. I have that insecurity about my own self,
right? Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot of time, and because sometimes as not even as men, but in general, I think generally as human beings, we try to save ourselves embarrassment, regardless of who we are around. We're always trying to protect our ego. As humble as we are, we always try to protect our ego. So most of the times our knee-jerk reaction is to pull into our shell and then like not address it, not be bold enough to say, you know, hon, like honestly, when you say that, it actually makes me feel this way.
Right.
And I know it sounds dumb, but like this is just where I am at right now. And then sometimes the partner might just be immature to say, yeah, idiot. That can make you feel bad.
Maybe you can't say that.
But I'm saying some people are immature like that because they look at what you're saying as trivial because it's trivial to them.
Okay.
Like, why would you think that me and married, we have 2 kids, yeah, idiot? Of course we find you attractive. But fam, like what you said literally remind me of what I always heard when I grew up, when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I haven't fully gone over that. And some people would say, oh, you have to deal with all of those things before you get married. I said, not necessarily.
No, because I mean, a lot of that stuff, unless it's in your face every day,
you don't even realize that
it's kind of hard for you to kind of deal with certain things. So even the idea that I think that some people have that you have to be perfect, that's not even a real statement, because there are certain things that you're not aware of until you become
until you get in such a close space and an intimate relationship. Right. You realize, oh wow, I have this issue, and maybe it links to this thing.
Yeah, and we talked about marriage being a mirror, and your partner serves as a mirror for you. So the things that you are unaware of, the things about you that can cause a disruption in the marriage, your personal little the little thing that you do that you probably, you know, for you is okay, but for your partner is annoying, those things come up in a relationship. And if you live by yourself, they've never really been a problem. But when you live with someone else who's grown up a completely different way, it can cause a rift. So leading to my next question, do you think, and this is, okay, my questions are completely random, just as they come to my mind, but do you think that compatibility, how much of a role does compatibility play in a marriage? Do you think it's like 50%? So
what is compatibility? Meaning that chemistry, like pink. You see, those words are just like gimmicks words where people use.
True.
I get it. I understand, fam. Yeah. It's not like you speak whatever language they speak in Finland. I hope it's not English, but whatever. Let's say you speak some
English.
Because let's say English and me speak English, then I'm not gonna make my point. My point is, it's not like Shanika speaks fluent Chinese and she was raised in a home, Asian culture, and I come from, say, Jamaican home, Jamaican culture, and then we're coming together now, and then it's like we're trying to come together. We can't even communicate basic communication. So a lot of times when we hear people say, "Oh, we have chemistry," and what do you mean? What do you mean by you're compatible? You mean like both of you speak English? You mean both of you like? No. Do you mean both of you like black? Do you mean both of you like R&B music? Do you mean?
I think it's a combination of
because those things don't mean nothing.
No, they don't. In the grand scheme of
things, don't indicate that you'll have a successful marriage.
I asked the question because I think these are things that people think
I know,
about.
but that's why I'm making that point. Yeah. Compatibility in terms of your likes and dislikes, preferences, etc. It don't necessarily indicate that you will have a successful marriage. Because I believe the most important thing to have a successful marriage, communication is there, but you have to be willing to compromise. So I think what a person should be asking is, how much am I willing to compromise because of the value that I see in this person that I want to get married to?
Right.
Because a lot of things we're incompatible about. In the sense that, alright, contrary to what everybody believe, I don't like goat.
Yeah. We've had several discussions.
Arguments too.
Yeah.
I don't like leaving me up. You see this woman there in that bed, I said, brother, Jesus, peace. The only thing me need is some food and some entertainment. I can stay in here for days. She'll go mad. She'll go insane being in the house. I don't like going out. And this is the crazy part to her. She always says it. When I go out, I will have a wonderful... You would think it was my idea.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely on 10.
Yeah.
But to get me out of the house, I don't want to go nowhere, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Even plans that even recently we made a plan. I agreed to something. We made a plan to go somewhere. And when Shinika said to me, yo, are we going XYZ? I was like, nah, I don't want to go. And I was actually like, in my mind, I was like, yo, why she asked me, like, fam, look at the day. I don't want to leave my yard, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, a lot of things, and so I would say we're incompatible in terms of one and two little things here and there. But at the same time, as I said, those things don't necessarily indicate that you'll have a successful marriage. It really comes down to, at the end of the day, how much value do I see in this person?
Mm-hmm.
How much value she sees in me?
Mm-hmm.
And then how we can both meet each other midway for make this thing work.
Yeah. Because
otherwise, you will just look at some superficial gimmicks like, you know, whether you like movies or, you know, some gimmick where...
Yeah.
I'm not trying to downplay those kind of things still. I'm not trying to throw shade on those kind of things. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of times they're just gimmicks, bro.
Yeah.
It's gimmicks.
They are.
What then? Explain to me some stuff with people that say incompatible.
I mean, you know, people say like...
What do young people say?
Young people, A big thing is, okay, we don't really measure that, but like people measure their zodiac sign, right? Stuff like that. I'm just what I hear out there in the street.
This to the young people of the day who meds the...
You know, they're not compatible with people.
What they call
different.
it? No, I don't know. They say, oh God, what is your
sign?
Yeah, but they have a name.
What?
Anyways, yeah, what is your sign and who's compatible with who? And
yeah,
what
people.
What is their signs?
People, yeah, as you said, hobbies. Whether the person is an indoor person, an outdoor person, an extrovert,
extrovert. Whether they like music or they don't like music.
You know the problem is, I think social media has played a big role.
Yeah, bro.
In shaping how people even see marriage, and so for some people, I think some people have because of social media, unfortunately, they have marked themselves off as unavailable
or they've told themselves that they're incompatible with people that they could marry and have excellent marriages with.
And I'm of the belief that you can marry anyone and it works. I do not think
if the other person wants
is willing,
to do it too,
right? I don't know if I think we talked about this, but I don't necessarily believe in a soulmate because I believe it was God ordained for us to be together. But do I believe that if you married somebody else,
it ain't gonna work?
It wouldn't work. Nah. Not necessarily.
No, I don't believe that either.
Because
it still comes down to my choice too.
Right, and you have will and you have. Now, I think if you marry outside of what maybe God has planned for you, however that finds its way to you, I think it can cause more bumps and struggles in the road, and there are things that you'll experience that you weren't intended to experience. But
it's not a doom to fail.
There's not. No, I don't think your marriage will fail, because I don't know. Like it will come down to, as you said, how you value your partner, and then it also comes down to how much are you willing to see this marriage succeed. And I don't see why, if two people are on the same page about their marriage being successful, them doing well, them supporting each other, I don't see why it wouldn't work.
No.
The devil can raise hell, but if we are both intentional about making the marriage work, we're both honest about our struggles,
it has to.
I don't see why it wouldn't work.
There's no way.
Which is why there are people of all races, of all cultures have come together and they're married, and their marriages are successful, right? Regardless of what background they come from, what language. You have people who come from they speak different languages and are married, and they still find a way to make it work. So yeah, I think
there's no excuse.
No, there isn't.
No.
I think it just comes down to, as you said, how much are you willing for this to be? How much is your marriage a priority? And then what guard are you willing to drop so that we can work on stuff? Because as I said, I don't think marriage is easy. And when I say that, I'm referring to the work. I think you have to put in as a person. You have to be selfless in marriage. It's not about your individual needs and wants. For example, like, I think it's your responsibility to be concerned with my needs and wants. Okay, scratch what I was saying. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna put a caveat there, because again, we're not saying that your needs and wants don't matter.
No, I'm not saying don't matter, but a big part of marriage is being selfless. If we get into an argument or disagreement,
this is the crazy part. If both of us are selfless, we're good.
Right. We're
covered.
Right. If we're both selfless, and that was where I was going.
We're good, bro.
If we're both selfless, all of your needs
will be met. You will take care of me, and I'll take care of you.
Right. So
we're good either way. You won't
have that issue. But I think sometimes what happens is either partner will kind of withhold.
Yeah, bro.
Because they're saying, okay, well, I'm not seeing this or I'm not seeing that, so I'm gonna withhold. And so you have this tug and war. So I can only give you this if you give me this. I can only go this far if you go this far. And it's like you both have to go in 100%, or it's not going to work. Bro. You can't go in half.
Yep.
Half. So I don't know. That's my experience, I think, so far.
Yeah, we're speaking from experiential knowledge, so you can't really pray us and judge us. But I think what we've said has value if you look into it. You know, like. It has to do. It really comes down to you seeing value, and it's not just about looking at whether I'm compatible, because you might be blinded, eh? You might be looking and say, oh, you know, this person, we go to the same church, or you know, we speak in tongues the same way. We